Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Harrison's Garage. I know it has been a while. I wrapped up in busy season at work, followed up by a little COVID over that, finished with work now, so back into the projects a little bit. So I think the last video that we did on the channel had to do with some Banks gauges. If it wasn't that one, it was pretty close. So we're gonna jump back into those today. And kind of go over kind of how the install has, what I liked about it, what needs to be improved, and then fix those things that need to be improved for those gauges. And I think I'll probably wrap the video up with a few really choice channel updates here after we get through the gauges. So I'll go ahead and hop out of the way, and I'll show you what we're going to be working on today. Okay, for those of you who didn't see it, I'll put a link below, but one of the most sort of recent videos that we did on the channel was these Banks iDash and Data Monster gauges on the A-pillar. I got the A-pillar mount here from Autometer. It's a dual pod, the dual pod setup. It is for a 2010, I believe, to 2018 truck. For some reason, they don't have the 2019 plus 5th gen mounts yet. And I say yet, but it's been like 4 years, so I don't think they're ever going to get them at this point. What I ended up doing, if you didn't see the video, was trimming this edge with a Dremel, and then trimming this back edge behind here a little bit, getting it to fit, and then painting it. Now, I painted it with just some flat black spray paint. And that worked pretty good until you'll see a couple of wear marks here. I have a sunshade that when I put it up, it rubs against this, and it's been rubbing the paint off. And then I've got a couple of marks here from pretty much the same thing. So we're gonna try and address that today. We've got two things. We've got just a general all-purpose sort of automotive cleaner to get fingerprints and oils off of this. Prep the surface, and then we've got something different. It's a vinyl and fabric specialty coating, so it's a more flexible finish here. You can see right on the can, great for dashboards, door panels, center consoles, trim and seat. So I'm going to put the link to this guy down in the description. If it is any good, if it does work. Hopefully this doesn't just kind of ruin everything we've done and I got to start over. But we'll see how it goes. If it doesn't work, I obviously will let you know, and I won't include the description. So we'll see how this goes. The idea for this is to put on a lot of light coatings and just kind of build up the layers, get the get the finish a little bit thicker, and hopefully a little bit more robust. And I won't end up with this sort of polishing out and removal of the paint that we see here. So I'm going to go ahead and get this guy prepped. I'm going to tape off the gauges. I'm not going to remove them simply because the fit is very snug. And if I get this all painted up and I got to kind of wrench on this with my hands to push the gauges in, I'm a little concerned that's going to, mat out or blot out the finish in some way. So I'm going to leave these in, tape them off, and then go ahead and get going on cleaning and then spraying this vinyl and fabric coating. It is a matte black. I did test it on one of the offcuts from the first sort of video where I had dremeled off this plastic. I tested it on the offcut and looked, and it didn't seem to be a different color in any way whatsoever, so that was nice. We're going to be using this frog tape to tape this off. So I'm going to go ahead and set you up on a time lapse and get this done. All right, we've got it masked off. We're gonna go ahead and jump into wiping this down with that guy next. I did want to point out here, I ended up widening this hole a little bit just to help get this to drop down in the cab the way it sits on the A-pillar, just to kind of make this fit a little bit more, precisely. But when I did that, the head of this screw, I noticed once pulled straight through this guy and left this flapping around. So what I did was I happened to have some rubber bungs or rubber stoppers for like a jar. You know, you stick the rubber stopper into the jar or the bottle. I cut a little thickness of it off the rubber stopper and used it as a sort of like an extra thick rubber washer. And you know, that goes in here nicely. It adds a lot of friction to this setup once the screw is nice and tight in here. It really does help to hold the screw in position, keep it from rattling loose, and it just works very, very well. So if you end up having trouble with your screw maybe backing out or not quite holding this in place, this was a great solution and it's worked for several months. So I just wanted to point that out. Okay, at this point I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning off the surface here, get it some gloves on. Once you've gotten all the oils that you can off of here, got it nice and clean and wiped down, go ahead and prepare your paint surface, and we're going to go ahead and begin to spray this on there, this stuff on there, and I'll go over how the best way to apply this is when we're ready to do that. Alright, we got it dried off. I hit it with some compressed air already just to make sure anything from the towels didn't get left on there. We're going to spray it with this. It is something you can recoat with anytime, dries to the touch in 30 minutes. Application, apply between 55 and 75. So that's what we're going to do. Just kind of hit it evenly, and we're going to hit a bunch of light coats. I'm going to try and build up as many as I can. And see how this goes. So we're going to go ahead and set you up on time lapse, and I'll bring you in for a close-up once we're done. Alright, that's it for coat one. It got pretty good coverage. Not done by any stretch of the imagination. We're going to come back and hit it with at least 2 more, probably in the next 15 or 20 minutes. Again, not something where we have to wait a whole lot of time on. That's again why we're doing light coats. Once I do get done with this, I think I'll leave it out in the sun for a while, just to let it harden up. And then give it another couple of, another day before I put it in the truck or so. Just overnight so I don't end up touching it and, somehow depressing the finish in any way. So again, come back in a couple of minutes and hit it with 2 or 3 more coats, and I'll meet back up with you once I've got those coats on. Okay, I got 3 coats of this stuff. Again, it's the Dupli-color vinyl and fabric coating on here. So it's been drying for a few hours, dry to the touch. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of hold it with a towel and then put it up in the truck, and avoid using the sunshade for about a week. Just to let this harden up in there, and when I'm putting the screw in, just be careful not to kind of hit the edges of any of that as I do so. The rubber washer that we manufactured should keep this from getting marred up as well quite nicely. So I'll go ahead and put this mounted up back in the truck, and then give you one final look in there before we wrap this up. Alright, we've got this back up in the truck, mounted nicely. The area before right here that was exposed is now painted up, covered. I'm not going to use the sunshade for a week, and hopefully with any luck this new paint on here, this new kind of covering, will be more durable than the old stuff. So I'll wait about a week, let this harden up, and follow up with you guys, let you know how it goes. Alright, if you've made it to this point in the video, thanks for sticking around. If you aren't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on, that way you won't miss any new videos I upload. So as promised, I did mention I'd give you a little channel update. I do have a couple of big plans for the channel in the sort of mid-future to long-term future. We're going to be getting another car, replace that one. It has 170,000 miles on it. So it's time to get the wife a new car. So we have ordered a Jeep Rubicon Wrangler 4xe, and I have some plans for that, and I'm going to do all the work for it myself. We may end up doing a lift because it's heavier than the traditional Jeep Wranglers. We're going to be probably looking at a spacer lift for that. Nothing big, just 2 inches. Maybe do 35-inch tires, maybe 37s. See what it fits. Not really sure yet. We got to take delivery of the vehicle. We ordered it way back in March. Still hasn't even been started yet, so who knows when that shows up. Could be June, could be November. Fingers crossed. The other much more sort of long-term project that I have in mind is doing a kit car build, and not the Shelby Cobra. I'm looking at the GT40, the Ford GT40. So if any of you guys are fans of that, I'm going to be doing, hopefully, in a couple of years, I'll have everything kind of sourced and ready to go, and depending on, ship dates at that point, and, financing and all of that, I hope to be doing a kit car build on this channel pretty extensively for a good couple of years. So that should be coming down the pipeline with any luck in a couple of years from now. So if that interests you, definitely, stay tuned. I will, as news happens on that, I'll give you guys updates as well. Anyway, thanks for watching. Give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on, and see you next time.